Hey guys, it's Ashley Fultz from thestyleeditrix.com. I hope you guys are doing well. Today is a little bit of a different sort of video for me. It's a little more personal. I had to share my experience as a new mom so far. I have literally learned so much and gone through so much, and Smith is actually 8 weeks old, which is so crazy to me because I feel like it's gone by so fast. In the beginning, I was so overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh, I just want the time to fly, and it did. And now I'm like, oh wait, can we slow down the time? So anyways, I have 10 things that I want to share with you guys that I have learned, and hopefully this will help somebody out there. And obviously everyone's experience is not the same, so I don't want to tell you these are the things you have to expect, but hey, if it helps, it helps, and if it doesn't, no worries. So let's get started. So tip number 1, breastfeeding. I thought that I was going to exclusively breastfeed for the first 3 to 6 months at least, just because that's what I thought was healthiest for the baby, and that's what I thought in my mind that I would do. But then once it came down to it, breastfeeding was so much harder than I ever thought it would be. There's so many different things that can happen to whether your milk comes in late or you are actually the only one providing food for your baby. So unless you're pumping constantly along with doing the feedings, no one else can feed your baby except for you, and that is a lot of pressure, especially in the first few days and weeks when you're so sleep deprived. You are the one feeding every 2 to 3 hours, and that is a lot of work. So ultimately what happened to me is I started weaning my baby off of breast milk exclusively around 5 weeks and introduced formula, and I felt so much mom guilt. But now that I think back on it, it was the best decision I ever made, just because I know that for me, I needed help. I needed my mom to feed the baby and my husband to feed the baby, and pumping was so much extra work too, that this just let me breathe a little bit. And then now I'm exclusively doing formula. So whatever works for you, don't feel judged, don't feel guilty. Your baby is gonna be just fine. Plenty of people have survived without breast milk. And if you do wanna breastfeed, I would say one of my biggest tips was having a lactation consultant. That's what really helped me in the first few days know how many times to feed, how to hold the baby, what certain things meant when the baby was feeding, or what your breasts were doing, and making sure you don't get things like mastitis. So definitely try to at least take some breastfeeding classes and find a lactation consultant in your area. Number 2, this is a big one. Come up with a schedule. So what that means to me is definitely sit down with your partner and talk about who is going to do all the feedings, who is going to be up during the night. Are you going to take turns? Can he do that? Does he get paternity leave so that you guys can both share in the work? Is your mom going to come? Do you have money to hire a night nurse, which is someone who comes and feeds the baby during the night, or basically does the changing and the burping and brings the baby to you if you're breastfeeding, or feeds the baby a bottle, depending on what you're doing. So this is a big one for me because I feel like we didn't really have an exact idea of how it was going to work. And then when it came down to it, I felt like I was the only one who could really take care of my baby all night, and that was no good for me because I was not sleeping and I was getting, just crazy crying, and it was just such a mess. Sleep deprivation can do weird stuff to you. Number 3, this is a funny one. Okay, so read everything and set up everything before the baby comes. This might sound silly, but honestly, I thought, oh, I'll just figure it out once the baby gets here. And then once the baby comes, you're so tired and so overwhelmed that you can't even think about reading anything or setting anything up. So whether this be something with a crib, or this be like a new little gadget, or even just like an app, or books, or whatever you need for the baby, do it before the baby comes. Unless you have 24-hour care, you are not going to have the energy or the brains to actually read, comprehend, and implement these instructions. So this happened to me with my heater, and I was just so overwhelmed I couldn't even do it. And this actually happened with another item too, the outlet, which I love, but it took me a few days to set it up because I just couldn't even read the instructions to set up the app, which was so dorky of me. Number 4, take the help. This is actually such an important one. So a lot of people mentioned this to me before the baby came, and they were like, make sure you take the help, and I was like, okay, sure, yeah, what does that mean? But once it comes down to it, you are the mom and you feel like you can do it all, and you are the one that knows your baby best, and other people might not do things right. But honestly, if someone offers to help you, please let them. You need a break. You deserve a break. You need to take a shower. You need to step away sometimes to get a manicure. That is what you need to do in order to be a happy mama. So if your mother volunteers to help, if you have someone who can babysit, if your husband offers to help, go to Target. Just do anything. Take the help and put a smile on your face. Number 5, this is a really kind of funny one. If you haven't had a baby before, or if you've only had a C-section, this does not pertain to you. But once you have a baby, there's these things called Popsicles, and basically they help your lady parts. So if you have a vaginal birth, these little pads, or if you want to get Depends, those are amazing too. You basically put aloe vera and witch hazel on them and put a little water and put them in the freezer. That way when you come home from the hospital, you can put these on and they are very soothing, and you will love me for this. Believe me, Tylenol obviously helps and just time will heal, but in the first few days you won't even want to sit down. So definitely make these little Popsicles for yourself. The funny thing is, I actually got stopped in a Target when I was shopping for diapers before the baby came, and a girl came up to me and told me this, and I was like, that sounds really weird and really crazy, but I promise it was the most helpful piece of information. My mom and I went home and did that and made them that day before I even had the baby, and had them in the freezer ready to go for when we got home. Number 6, make some mom friends. So a lot of my friends, and close friends at least, haven't had babies yet. I'm actually the first one of my close friends to have a baby. So it was really overwhelming in the beginning because I didn't have anyone I can necessarily call and be like, is this okay during pregnancy? Is this normal? Is this blah, blah, blah? And now, especially with the baby, having mom friends is key. You're gonna have so many questions during your pregnancy, when you're preparing for baby, and then once you have your baby. So make sure you can get some moms that you can call on and just write an email and ask a few quick questions. It's gonna be so helpful. And also, these women know exactly what you're going through. They will be your shoulder to cry on when you need it. And they'll be also your walking partner when you wanna go and just take your baby outside and get out of the house and go for a walk or go for a lunch date. Your mom friends are gonna be there. So definitely befriend some mom friends and get some resources, whether it's on Facebook or whatever. I'm in a mommy to mommy group, and they've been so helpful to me. And also join some, babies first class type of things where it's like mommy and me, and you can go meet other moms. Definitely one of my biggest tips so far since having the baby. Okay, number 7, a happy mom is a happy baby. I was literally shocked when I came home from the hospital because I was just constantly crying. I was so tired and so sleep deprived, and also just so overwhelmed that it was just really making me crazy. And my mom kept saying, this is normal. It's the hormones. They're completely out of whack. I cried a lot too. It's okay. And we've all heard of postpartum depression, but I don't really think I knew what that was. I thought it was like when you have a baby and you want the baby back in your stomach, but it's actually not. It's actually when you feel like you're not ready for the baby and you don't know how to handle it all, and it just all feels so overwhelming, and you want your old life back, and it's just a really crazy feeling. I am the last person that I thought would ever get that. I've wanted a baby since I could walk and talk and everything. I was a nanny all throughout college, and we tried for this baby. We've waited a long time to have this healthy, cute little bundle of joy. So for me to even think about getting baby blues or postpartum depression, it was not on my radar, but it honestly hit me like a ton of bricks. And I don't think I actually had full-blown postpartum, so I can't really speak to that. But the baby blues is when your hormones are completely out of whack in the first few weeks that you have the baby home. And I remember looking in my closet and looking at the clothes and being like, I'll never be able to wear those again. That's not my life anymore. I'm chained to the house. I'm chained to this baby. And it was just such a weird feeling. And so anyways, you are not alone. This is a totally normal thing, and hang in there. I promise it will get better. And the best advice I can give you is to get sleep. Once we hired a night nurse and I started getting a full night of sleep, I felt so much better, and it changed everything for me. So by week 5, I was really on the mend and just feeling like a different person, and so excited to be able to take care of my baby every day and not have to go back to work right away. So if this happens to you, don't be scared. Make sure you talk to your doctor about it, talk to your family. My mom was my huge support every day, and so was my husband, and they just let me cry when I needed to. And it is overwhelming, and it is really scary. You don't know what to do with the baby in the beginning, and you don't want to hurt it, and it's so fragile and everything else. So just take it easy. It will get better, and we've all gone through it. Message me if you have any questions about this, because I have been there, and you are not alone, that is for sure. So, number 8, this is How to Have the Happiest Baby on the Block. You might have heard of this DVD or this book. It's the 5 S's. It's shushing, swaddling, the side position, sucking, and swaying. And honestly, these 5 things have saved me. So make sure you watch the Happiest Baby on the Block DVD or read the book if you want to do that, because it really helps with the crying and just really soothes and settles your baby, which is all you want as a new mom. And then the other thing too is make sure you set yourself up just for success. So have gripe water, which is also for crying, and that's for hiccups. And then also get the gas drops, because most babies do have gas problems because their stomachs really aren't formed yet. So anyways, that's definitely a huge piece. The last thing I'll tell you is there's a book that I read, and it's called Cherish the First 6 Weeks. And it had this whole sort of schedule laid out throughout the book on week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's lots of books like this. I know that there's another one that's called Baby Wise. And, you know, some people say you shouldn't be on a schedule and so regimented in the beginning, but it gave me something to base my days off of. I was so confused as to when should the baby eat, sleep, when should I sleep, you know, what's going on, when should the baby play, be awake. And this book just is sort of a guideline. So you don't have to live and die by it in the beginning, because your baby's not going to. He's going to be on his own schedule. But it's definitely just helpful to know what is possible and what is normal. And it's given me so much help and just peace of mind on when my baby should be sleeping, and setting me up for the baby sleeping through the night, because already at week 7, my baby is technically sleeping through the night. I know I said it, people, and now I'm just scared. Hopefully that does not change, but he's sleeping 7 hours at a time, which is amazing. So anyways, cross our fingers that stays the same. So that's huge. Okay, so number 9, this is a really hard one for me to even tell you, because I feel like I'm not taking my own advice 100%, but don't be too hard on yourself in the beginning. Your body is not what it used to be, and it's definitely gonna take time to bounce back. I came home from the hospital in my hormone crazed, sleep deprived phase. I literally was crying and so emotional, and I was so hard on myself, because I just looked at my body and I was not happy with what I saw at all. And I had stretch marks all over my stomach, and I was just like, how did this happen? I thought I made it through the pregnancy without that. And it's just a part of life. And you just delivered a little miracle and a little bundle of joy, and your body worked really hard. So give yourself some time. Breastfeeding definitely helps drop the weight. I'm not where I want to be right now, but getting out and walking and signing up for classes and getting the stroller out is definitely good for you, and you're gonna be okay. And I know I'm gonna be okay. It's just gonna take a little bit longer than I actually wanted it to. So be kind to yourself, and definitely invest in some cozy but chic clothes. So all black is super slimming, whether it's black workout clothes or just cotton comfy loungewear. Definitely invest in this, and keep your maternity jeans, because you don't want to force yourself back into your other jeans too quickly, or not be able to wear jeans at all. So just put on a sleek little black blouse over your maternity jeans and you'll be just fine. That's what I've been doing. 10, this is an interesting one. It's about visitors. So in the beginning of my pregnancy, I told everyone, come to the hospital, come visit me at our house. It's gonna be great. I want you to see the baby when it's first born. And that is all good and well. And maybe some of you loved having visitors if you've already had a baby. But for me, I was in so much pain that I was not in the mood at all for visitors in the hospital. I was totally out of it still. I hadn't slept since my labor was 26 hours. And then you have the doctors and nurses coming in every 30 minutes to an hour. So you don't sleep the entire time you're there. And then when you get home, all you want to do is sleep and get on some sort of routine. And this is a whole new life and a whole new you. And you have this baby that you don't know what to do with. So visitors to me were so overwhelming. And we had a lot of family coming in town. So there was no way to not have visitors at that point. But definitely think about this long and hard before you invite anyone from out of town to come over in the first few weeks. If I were to give you advice based off my experience alone, I would say wait until like week 5 or 6 until you have a lot of visitors over. And not to mention your baby hasn't had the shots yet, so it's not an amazing idea to have a ton of people in the house if someone's sick or whatever else. You and your baby need lots of rest, and you need to take care of yourself without having to entertain or have visitors over. You will have plenty of time to show off that little baby and little bundle of joy soon enough. Okay, so that was it. All of the 10 things that I've learned, and I'm sure I'm going to update this later on with new things that I've learned because I'm learning stuff every single day. But I just wanted to share that little bit with you guys. I hope you like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will definitely be back with more videos soon and sharing Mr. Smith with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.